And we are live.
And the camera is centered.
Back at it again. Camera is centered. The scene actually looks a little bit...
not centered.
Oh, it's not centered at all.
Oh, well, it's fine.
Seems a little bit dark, but...
We'll see if anyone notices.
I think we'll survive. I look less white.
Good job.
Still pretty white.
Yeah. Speaking of things that aren't pretty white, 5 things that you're still doing to your Windows computer that you shouldn't be doing anymore. Or are just a waste of time, really. That's.
I'm going to go ahead and guess that I do 2 of them.
Okay, I only remember what like 2 or 3 of them are.
Probably the 2 or 3 that you do.
Yeah, I probably only do, I think, 1 of them.
Okay, gotcha.
I definitely don't do 3 of them.
Okay. Then maybe I just do 1.
You probably don't do any of them.
Okay, gotcha. We'll see.
They're pretty basic. People are getting pretty tired of the USB, the Universal Serial Bus, and they just want a way to charge their phone and their friend's phone and their device and their friend's devices. Apparently Universal isn't universal.
Apparently Universal?
Yeah. Even you and I have different chargers.
Yes, you have USB-C and I have USB micro USB.
What's the thingy on the tip?
This is a magnetic adapter.
Not only do we have different types of USB, but then you have adapter on it. And I think that device chargers should be magnetic, like the MacBook clip-ons.
Yeah.
Which we'll get into, I guess.
Yep.
A game development studio wasn't seeing good game sales, so they did this, and now they have quadruple the money.
This one simple trick to quadruple your game sales.
Yeah. Backdoors are a bad idea, says Microsoft. This is in talks with Apple saying they're a good idea, I guess.
Yes, but no, Apple is not saying that it's a good idea.
Oh, but Microsoft's saying it's a bad idea.
Microsoft's saying it's a bad idea, and Apple's saying it's a bad idea, and then Microsoft's saying that it disagrees with Apple.
Cool.
Not even kidding.
Okay. That's how much of the article I read.
Yep.
Spectrum to quit its security system, and a lot of people aren't happy. I'm curious how many people would be unhappy if they continued it. Samsung is releasing a really cool phone, and if it was $200 cheaper, I might buy it.
And Microsoft caught recording your Skype chats. Do you use Skype?
So I've purposely just uninstalled my Skype. There's a little story behind that one.
Okay, I have Skype. Well, for work, we have to use Skype. It's awful.
But now you can go back on your recorded conversations.
That's not the awful part. The awful part is that sometimes it probably doesn't record our conversations. Because that's how good Skype is.
Oh, man. Justin Bieber outplayed the tech industry, specifically Spotify and iTunes. It's a little bit amazing. I was kind of in awe that it worked.
I have not seen this yet, but it does look interesting.
I don't know what this next one is.
This article was written for the headline, as was the bill. Proposed bill would ban cell phone use for anyone under 21.
So not only could you not smoke anymore, you also couldn't use your cell phone.
Yep, in Vermont. 8K at CES, the future or a waste of time? Or possibly both is my guess.
I think it's more of a waste of time.
I think currently a waste of time. In the future, yeah, it'll be a thing.
It has to be.
Yeah, I mean,
we're going to stop.
What are we going to just stop at 4K? YouTube catches 2 or 3 Twitch stars. I think they got 3 Twitch stars moved over from Twitch to YouTube. Kind of like how Mixer's been stealing people from Twitch.
Do we count as Twitch stars?
No.
We're streaming on Twitch right
Pretty
now.
sure we don't count as stars. Not going to lie. Ooh, speaking of stars, I guess.
Women.
Dating apps need women, advertisers need diversity, and AI companies offer a solution. Fake people.
I want to call it a solution. It's more like a problem avoidance.
Sure.
Oh, SpaceX is launching their satellite broadband before the end of 2020.
Yep, that's the prediction. I don't know if SpaceX has actually announced it, but we'll talk about that.
Oh.
From a super reputable website.
Oh, wow. It's super reputable.
All right.
Open up that one.
Starting off with 5 things Windows users do that are not important anymore.
This is over on ZDNet.
Hey, our favorite.
Second favorite.
Yeah, second favorite.
Sponsor us, Verge. So the 5 things. This first one, you actually, I don't know if you would or not. It's okay to update your firmware. So
they're not even numbered.
Yeah, they're just in bold. It's pretty terrible.
That's, yeah. ZDNet no longer our second favorite website.
The other weird part is that they say update your firmware. And at first, I thought they meant just BIOS. But then they kind of talk about BIOS. And I was a little confused. Because then, like, firmware, you can update your Logitech webcam firmware. I did that this week.
So are they saying that it is okay or it's no longer okay to update your firmware?
That it is okay. That you should do it now.
That I should do it. So why is it called 5 popular Windows 10 settings tweaks you need to quit using? If it's telling me I should do this.
Did I misread this entire paragraph? So you should always update your firmware. If there's a firmware update.
I think this article is just not written very well.
Okay, cool.
This says, in this second paragraph about it's okay to update your firmware, it says, the trouble is, too many people are absolutely petrified at the prospect of updating their system firmware. That's especially true for people who've been using PCs for decades and who have terrible memories of bricking a PC with a BIOS update that goes wrong. Oh, okay.
So back before like Windows 8, it was really easy to brick your BIOS. Now they have the dual boot or the dual BIOS chips. So if you do brick it, you can hit recover BIOS and it just writes the default BIOS from the motherboard back onto the using chip.
So it used to be if you were updating your
BIOS,
your computer,
and the power blank, you touch the power cord, hit
lost
the
everything.
escape key.
Yeah.
Yeah, something bad happened.
But now there's a backup.
Yes.
That if that were to happen, then you can just revert back to
Yep. There's usually a little BIOS reset switch on the back of the motherboard.
Okay. So the thing that they want you to stop is not updating your firmware.
Wow, that's super backwards. Update your firmware. I would also argue it the other way, that if your devices are working perfectly, don't update your firmware.
Yeah.
Like if you're not having zero problems and there's no security risks, like my Logitech webcam, I really wasn't having problems with it until I wanted to use some software to use 2 webcams at the same time. Oh. And their current firmware wouldn't let you use both webcams at the same time. Logitech released an updated both the camera firmwares. Now you can use both cameras.
Gotcha.
That's when you should use it.
So there was a practical reason to update.
Otherwise, I had the cameras for like 4 years. They were sitting right here for a month.
Yeah, I remember.
Didn't use them. So I wonder if you've ever done this one. Don't mess with the page file system.
No, I don't think I have. I definitely have heard of the page file. I don't think I've ever actually done anything with it.
So I used to turn it off just because I hated it.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't touched it since I started using Windows 10.
Gotcha.
I messed with it with Windows 7.
Mm-hmm.
And then since I upgraded Windows 10, I've never looked at it. I would argue more important than the page file system would be the, what's it called? Restore points. System restore points.
Yeah.
Because it used to be auto turned on. Now they're auto turned off. So instead, you should go do that.
Gotcha.
I never used the page file systems in 10.
Yeah, me neither. Let defragging take care of itself.
I agree with this one. Don't defrag your computer. Chances are you have an SSD.
If you have an SSD, definitely don't defrag your computer.
Part of me is also curious on how many people need the defragging. I believe the magic number, I think, was 14%. I might be wrong on
if
this.
It's 14% full, or 14% of people need it.
Fragged. So if you run the analyst and it says it's
Gotcha.
14% fragged or something, then it's worth running it.
I bet there's a lot of people that have that.
But then on the other hand, that if it's like 3% fragmented and you defragment it, then what you're doing is you're having to move all the files to one end of the hard drive, and then you move them back one over the other so that it defrags it so all the files are lined up nicely, but you're wearing out your hard drive.
Yeah, definitely don't do it with an SSD because it doesn't matter anyway with an SSD.
But yeah, I don't remember what the magic number is. I want to say it was 14. But in today, I'm curious on how many people. So yeah, it would look like this. Like 0% fragmented on all of these.
Yep.
But then like, I bet some of these are SSDs. Yeah, it says it. Solid state drive, media type. The C is an SSD.
Oh, yep.
And it says it's okay 0 days since last run. So chances so they did run it on 1/11/2020. Don't run it on an SSD. It'll kill it very fast. It's kind of like driving with your parking brake on.
Yeah, I guess.
In no way related.
It's not good for the car or the drive. That's the only relation.
Yeah.
Really. Uninstall your registry cleaner.
So this one I think is also super confusing. I think before people were using registry cleaners, and they're telling you that you should uninstall it.
You should uninstall it.
I don't use a registry cleaner anymore.
Okay.
I used to use CCleaner until they got bought out by that Russian, I think, company.
Oh, McAfee or something?
Yeah, McAfee bought them, and then McAfee...
Kaspersky?
That sounds more right.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, one of those terrible antivirus companies that... It's all terrible. Don't worry about your registry. The only time you need to worry about your registry is either when you're pirating software or... That's about the only time I know anyone ever going into the registry. You ever use your registry for anything? Almost like I don't know what people use it.
I don't think so. Not that I can remember. Not even like any programming type stuff that I can remember.
Huh. Yeah, don't worry about your registry. Cleaning it up doesn't make your computer go faster. It's like cleaning up the telephone book to look up a number faster. It's all in order. It doesn't have to sift through the garbage. It can just
skip them.
Yeah.
Try not to obsess over telemetry.
You should obsess over telemetry.
You don't like all your data just going to Microsoft and all these various companies?
This is basically saying ignorance is bliss. Don't worry. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry. There's nothing you can do anyway, so.
You should worry about where your data goes. As we'll find out with the Skype conversation in a second. What a mess.
Oh, yeah. This article looks familiar.
It looks super familiar, right?
Yeah. We went through and we both added the same article to our list. European lawmakers want to force all smartphones to have the same charging port, and Apple is defending Lightning.
So I couldn't care less what the charging port is, but I think it should definitely be the same.
But I don't think that the government forcing companies to use this charging port.
No, but I think the companies should want to do it.
Yes, I think they should want to do it. Although Apple obviously doesn't because they have their own proprietary stuff. And to be fair, a lot of Apples are probably actually better.
Yeah. Like, I like the magnetic stuff, especially on the MacBooks.
Yeah.
When they were magnetic.
USB-C is not magnetic, is it?
No.
No? Okay. I know I've charged a iPad that had a magnetic charging cable. It was pretty nice. It was reversible, which a lot of these plugs now are reversible. And you could just put it up beside it and it'd click into space. It might have been Lightning or it might have been something else, but it was pretty nice.
I prefer something more like yours where it's not reversible because there's no direction to it. It's a round plug.
The problem with a round plug is that this cable only does charging, not data.
Okay.
Which, for my case, it's fine because I just need to
Would it be
charge.
that hard to add 2 extra contact rings?
Being a circle, it'd have to be pretty precise. Because it's not like you can just add an extra pin.
Yeah,
you
that's
have to
true.
add an extra ring. Yeah.
That's true.
But I think reversible is a fair enough compromise.
So the other option on this is getting rid of the charging ports altogether and not having charging ports.
Like the wireless, yeah.
And just have wireless charging.
Do you use your wireless charging at home or just...
So Amazon had a sale for wireless chargers, and I almost bought 3.
Yeah.
I talked myself
one
out
for
of
the
it.
shop, one for home.
Yep, and then one for
like,
everywhere else.
Yeah.
Hey. I talked myself out of it because
How much were they?
they were like $13.
$13. And they'd work with the Samsung. Would they work with other phones?
Yes. And it was a
That's
dual
convenient. So you could
coil.
charge 2 phones at once?
So you could charge 2 phones. You can lay it down like charge 2 phones.
Okay.
Or you can set it upright, and you can set your phone upright or in port or landscape.
Gotcha.
Because they were far enough apart.
Okay.
But yeah, it had 2 different coils. I think one was faster than the other or something.
Gotcha.
I don't know. It was pretty...
yeah, for $13.
So I almost bought a few.
Pretty good.
I talked myself out of it. Because I only charge my phone once a day.
Yeah.
Like, I really don't need it. But yeah, I think wireless charging is going to take over before anything like this happens.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm going to move this over here. Otherwise I can't hit it.
Whoosh. Let people pirate your game and quadruple your sales. There was a game on Steam, and it wasn't doing so hot. The game was called Danger Gazers, a top-down shooter. And it was released on Steam earlier this year, and kind of flopped. And then a week later, the developer uploaded a torrent of the title on the Pirate Bay, which is a popular pirating website. And it was the fully functional game.
Yeah, and you said you put even in the description of the torrent that there's no catch here. No Steam-only features, just a fully functional game. I'm curious if a statement like that would work on a piracy site, or if you would have to be like cracked by hacksaws. Like, this is one of those too good to be true. Like,
yeah.
Here's my game for free.
And then they also say, after that sentence, in return, they ask players who like the game to consider buying it at full price. And the devs told Polygon that they estimate the gambit, whatever the heck that means, must be some kind of like trick or ploy or something, resulted in a 400% sale increase.
That's a lot.
So I get what they're going for. They're saying, hey, here's a demo. If you like it, buy it or pay us. In this case, the demo was the full game.
Yeah. And
it seems like it worked out for them. I don't know if there's any verification for this. They told this website that they made 4% sales increase.
I guess the only way they can tell is just like day-to-day sales. Then they release it.
Yeah.
And then 2 weeks later, it starts shooting up.
Yeah.
I guess is how they would tell.
Yeah.
One thing that has me curious, though, is that Steam does the 2-hour play it. If you don't like it, return it.
That's true.
And I've used it several times where I play the game for like an hour. The controls still don't work, or my PC can't handle it in VR.
And there's a difference between a game not working on your PC, which is really what that 2-hour buyback thing is for, and there's not liking the game.
Yeah.
And sometimes, a lot of times, it takes more than 2 hours to really get into a game. Just like it takes more than the first episode of a TV show to...
Yeah. So I did that with a Fallout whatever. I forgot what it was.
Yeah.
I played it for like 15 minutes. I was like, nah, this ain't going to work.
Yeah.
And
then there's things like that when you just instantly know you don't like it.
But it wasn't really a pain because it was Steam and all my credit cards are saved on Steam. Yay.
Yeah.
But it would have been easier to just have downloaded it through piracy, I guess, and then be like, okay, and then just never touch it again.
Mm-hmm. Oh. And this says, in addition to claiming the 400% sales increase, the devs also said that it didn't stop there. Some kind individuals went out of their way to donate more than twice as much. The game cost $10.
Yeah.
So some people donated $20, and the dev received countless emails from all the people who showed their support. And they are thankful that their message was clear and thankful for all the support. So it is kind of a cool idea. There are a lot of people out there that do put up donationware. So it's free software. Maybe it's a photo editing software or whatever it is. Actually, Voicemeter, the tool we use for our audio, combining this microphone and that microphone and adjusting the volume levels and stuff, is donationware as well. So it's free software, and they say, hey, if you like it a lot, consider donating.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
I'm also curious if doing something like this on specifically a piracy website helps them out even more. Because I would think it's easier to gain traction and separation there.
Because if you're on Steam, there's a whole lot of games on Steam.
Yep. And even if you go to another gaming platform like the GOG or whatever it is, or I don't know, one of those other gaming platforms, I think it'd be a lot hard to get out.
Hard to stand out from the crowd when there's
because
1,000
I'm sure
games
there's
there.
a million pirates sitting there refreshing the new game releases.
Yeah.
And then they see this one, like, sure, why not?
Might as well try it. Oh, this one's the one of the interesting ones, I think. Microsoft CEO says encryption backdoors are a terrible idea. So this comes from a fight that Apple is having between, I believe, them and the FBI. So there was, let's see.
It was over the shooting.
Yep, a few years ago. Wow, 2016, that's 4 years ago. Crazy to think that that's 4 years ago. In 2016, there was a shooting in San Bernardino, California, and the terrorists, or the people who committed the shooting, had iPhones, and the law enforcement was pushing for Apple to unlock the iPhone so they could get data, conversations, all that kind of stuff from the iPhone, and Apple fought back against that. And it looks like eventually they did break into the phone. Not Apple, but
the FBI. And I think a lot of people were actually on the FBI side on this one.
Yeah, which I think is not the right side to be on, but I can see why they would be on that side. And so it's coming up again where there was another shooting, and the FBI is wanting Apple to
they're requesting
crack it again.
Because I think I remember it online as Tech Tips, and they were saying that nobody should be allowed in your phone except for you and people you say are allowed in it until you hit like a 3rd-degree felony or something. And there was like a cutoff point, like, oh, well, once you're not allowed to buy firearms or something, then you've also lost the right to privacy after you commit another crime.
Well, who decides whether you can buy firearms or not? The government.
Yeah.
So they can just deem you mentally unstable because of something you did or something you said, and you can't buy firearms, and then they have access to all of your devices.
So they can only ask if it can be used as evidence. I'm sure there's a loophole in there.
Oh, there's
probably one loophole.
Just like Microsoft is saying, if you have a backdoor, people are going to abuse it. So this article actually seems to indicate that Microsoft is expressing wholehearted support for Apple's position here. I read another article that seemed to say otherwise.
So
that Microsoft was against security backdoors, but disagreed with Apple in this case.
Would you be okay with the backdoor that was some type of impossible key unless you had both the company that made the device and the device together, and they had to have like a handshake between the device and the device servers? Servers. So it's not like they can't just take control of your phone if you're just sitting here with us.
Yeah.
But then if they have the device and like, unlock this, then they can just have their intern tech take it to the back room and do.
I would say no, because that's your device. Okay. I would say no, just for the privacy reasons.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Speaking of privacy.
This video is sponsored by Jmart Media and
NephewTech.
SecurityTech.com. Just kidding, NephewTech.com.
Don't know what's on that website.
Spectrum quits the security game. It's poor customers.
So, from my understanding of this, is that they just couldn't make it work. And so they're like, all right, we're just killing off this section of services. And they just bricked all the equipment. And then they're like, oh, now you're out of the equipment. And so a lot of customers are apparently left with just a bunch of dead security equipment that can't be used with another security provider.
Uh-huh.
And they can't use it themselves because it's dead. So if you signed up for a plan with Spectrum Security, as this one customer did down here, he was out nearly $1,000 of security equipment, and he won't be able to connect it to a new system.
Gotcha. And it also says that the customer says he asked for a credit towards his bill, but Charter reportedly denied. So it says here further up in the article, according to Spectrum's website, the security service came with 2 wireless door and window sensors, a wireless motion detector, a touchscreen, a yard sign, and window decals, and then additional peripherals like a wireless video camera and additional sensors were available to be purchased as add-ons. So they even bricked the add-ons that people purchased?
I guess.
Is what it sounds like.
Yeah. Which
is questionable, to say the least. Maybe it's not even questionable. It's really not questionable.
No.
It's just kind of wrong. People buy a device from you and then you just...
Nah, not offering that as a service anymore. It's almost like Spectrum's the bad guy.
Yeah, it'd be different if they were some kind of rented agreement.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times your TV boxes will be rented. So if your TV company decided, hey, we're not doing TV anymore, which would be an interesting thing for a TV company to do.
Yeah.
And they just said, hey.
Just kill the box and throw it away.
Yeah. Because
it wouldn't be worth it for them to go and pick up these $4 boxes.
Yeah. Now, if you had bought that device for $100, used it for your TV, and then they said, we're canceling our service. You can't use this on any other service. That device that you bought is just dead. That would be more like this situation with Spectrum. Not good. Is Spectrum Time Warner Cable?
So,
something different?
Yes, Spectrum bought Time Warner Cable.
Gotcha.
Or Charter Communications bought Time Warner Cable and renamed it Spectrum.
Okay. Oh, yep. It says right there. Yep.
They're all one and the same at this point.
Gotcha.
It's Charter versus Verizon versus
AT&T.
It's pretty much
and soon to be...
Samsung?
SpaceX. No.
Oh.
Took me a second
how
there.
your articles were get out with this.
That took me a second. Oh, yeah. That was... Gotcha.
Yeah. Samsung, removable battery smartphone coming to the U.S. for $500 minus one.
Who needs fast charging? Who needs charging cables? Just swap out your battery. I got to say, though, that is pretty cool that the battery's removable. You can just have a backup battery in your car.
Yep, not only removable, but it also has, there's not a picture of it. It also has a headphone jack.
Nice. And for $500, it's actually reasonably priced for a Samsung phone. Right?
Yeah.
For a new Samsung phone.
Yep, it's a 4,050 milliamp battery.
Wow, that's a
it's a
big battery.
Big battery. This supports 15-watt fast charging, so be able to charge that pretty fast, actually.
It has a pretty big screen with pretty big resolution, blah, 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 which Samsung says you can use when you have gloves on, which is kind of
different.
Neat. Did you know they make gloves that have like fingertips that are phone usable?
Yes, there's like a special thread that can detect.
Maybe it's conductive or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, just they do like little loops, right? The pad of your fingertip.
Yep.
One really cool thing about this photo that I just saw, it's not really, you can't really see it on the back, but this photo here is it almost looks like it has extra ridging on the corners.
Okay.
I can't tell if that's just because I saw it right here in the video where it looks extra thick. And I'm curious.
There's a big battery in there, I'll tell you that.
Curious if it was made to withstand a little more abuse.
It wouldn't surprise me. The article said rugged, and I think it did anyway. It seems to be a pretty
beefy phone.
Pretty beefy phone, yeah.
25 megapixel camera.
That's pretty good, depending on the quality.
Yeah. That's just a number.
Yeah.
But yeah, make it cheaper. We'll be set.
Speaking of not approving of encryption backdoors, Microsoft says Skype audio is now reviewed in secure facilities after a worrying report. Wow, this reminds me of all the Amazon Echo and all the other smartphone
Apple
stuff.
And who else was caught? It was definitely Amazon, Apple. I feel like it wasn't Facebook.
Well, there was Google.
Google's Homes.
Yeah.
And now Skype.
Yay!
So if you think they're listening over to the Skype recordings, do you think they're also listening over the Cortana recordings? Same company.
You know, yeah, because I would say Cortana is a lot more similar to the smart homes
Yeah.
than Skype is. Yeah, I kind of wonder why. What's their reasoning behind listening to Skype calls?
Because we all know that they're recording the Facebook ones. If you do Facebook video chatting, there's no way they're not.
Probably so.
Now, I don't see a reason on why.
Yeah, I don't. Unless they're going to like add some kind of closed captioning to Skype or something.
This next article has me crazy, though.
Yeah. I saw your title and... First of all, didn't really realize Justin Bieber was still a thing. Or, who was that band that played on New Year's?
Oh, that BTS?
No,
Korean one?
the three brothers, the Jonas Brothers?
Yeah, the
was
Jonas
that them?
Brothers. Yeah,
Yeah. The Jonas Brothers are apparently still a thing.
Somehow.
They played on New Year's Eve. Or, well, New Year's, I guess.
Yeah.
After New Year's Eve. After midnight.
Yeah, so Justin Bieber put up some Instagram posts telling people how to play the system to get his song number one on iTunes and Spotify, which then would make it number one everywhere. And how he did it was kind of cool. So on iTunes, he says he told everyone to go buy the song on iTunes first, and then they can buy it multiple times on his website. So somehow iTunes doesn't like limit buying on third-party sites or something like that. I don't fully understand it.
Yeah.
But so you were able to multiple buy a song
Okay.
through iTunes that way, which would show as sales shooting through the roof if someone, instead of giving $1 for a song, gave $10 for a song.
Yeah.
And then on Spotify, you said create a playlist, put only that one song on it, and you can't leave it on mute, but leave it on the lowest volume setting, and then let it play overnight while you slept. And it would rack up Spotify play count.
Uh-huh.
And then it would shoot up number one.
So he's just hoping people will...
And it worked.
And it worked.
Yep.
So people bought multiple versions or multiple copies of his song.
That's
nice of
what
them.
it appears.
That's nice of them. That's funny. And just like that, Justin Bieber's relevant again.
I don't know how the music company, Spotify and iTunes haven't thought about this on having play counts in succession on per device.
Well, they thought about some of that a little bit by saying you can't mute it.
Yeah.
So that's something, that they thought about. But yeah, playing it in a row.
Because I think my Pandora makes like every hour I have to hit, I'm still listening for it to keep playing.
Yep.
I think that's more of like a saving
bandwidth
on their side more thing.
Yeah.
But it seems like Spotify would almost have that type of feature. Except for the idea that everyone who uses Spotify is paying for Spotify, and the last thing you want to do is have to hit a button every hour to say, keep playing the song I'm paying for.
Yeah. Not everybody using Spotify is paying for it. It's still free, just with ads.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, see. I have no idea.
Yeah. What is it now, like $7?
No idea.
You don't use Spotify?
Yeah.
Pandora. There you go.
I use Pandora.
Not sponsored.
Yet. But it's pretty cool that
yeah, just gaming the system.
Gotta give him credit for that. Now, I didn't even open this one, so you have to...
Proposed bill would ban cell phone use for anyone under 21. So this is up in Vermont, which is in the United States of America, if you're not in the United States of America.
Earth.
Still in the United States of America, even if you are from the United States of America. A Vermont lawmaker is proposing a ban on cell phones for people under 21, but it's not what you think. So it appears that he's putting forward this bill just to make the news and get people talking about cell phones and then other rights that people from the kind of 18 to 21-year-old range are not allowed to do. So drinking, smoking.
I don't know if smoking's a
I don't know
country or if that's an our state thing.
I don't know if it's officially been moved to 21 yet, but I've definitely heard stuff about smoking
Yeah.
age being moved to 21. And then owning firearms. And he even brings up the point, if we're going to allow 18-year-olds to vote and join the military and such, they should have all the rest of the rights. So this guy doesn't really believe that anyone under 21 should be banned from using cell phones. He's just looking for the publicity.
Okay, he's trying to make it so that instead of 21 being the magic number for some things and 18 be the magic number for other things, for 18 to be the magic number for everything.
That's what it looks like. And then, I don't know, maybe even lower than that. Cause,
or we can raise and just put them all at 21. Doesn't make a difference to me.
I thought that was an interesting
Wow.
article, though.
Yeah. It's definitely not where I thought that one was going.
Yeah, me neither. When I clicked on it, I was like, wow, is this guy serious? 8K at CES 2020. The future or a waste of time? I think right now, waste of time, because the amount of content that's in 8K is basically zero. And probably way overpriced. But in the future, definitely.
So I can open up that pixel ratio calculator again, and we could spend another 20 minutes on it, on why 8K is most likely useless for the immediate now.
Yeah.
But it's definitely going to happen. There's no...
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just going to continue getting higher and higher resolution.
I don't think 8K is going to matter until we start filming at 16K. The reason is once we film at 16K or 12K, whatever you want to go to next, then they can edit down to 8K. So then movies will be playing at 8K. So movie theaters will then be 8K. Yeah. I think that's where the real benefit is if movie theaters are 8K. Just because the screen to viewing distance and all that fun math makes more sense. And then once movies are releasing in 8K in theaters, then people are going to want the same experience at their house. And they're going to
So it'll kind of trickle down from
and then once
the
they
top of the top.
Yeah. Once they have an 8K TV in their house, why wouldn't you want an 8K laptop? I could tell you 100 reasons why you wouldn't want an 8K laptop. The battery life being one of them.
Yeah, last week we talked about the 4K 13-inch Chromebook,
for
right?
A long time.
Yeah. Yeah. Imagine if that was 8K.
It's like right now, there's a 150-inch projection screen downstairs. And you can kind of see the pixels. Like, it has a screen door effect. But it's not, like...
noticeable, really.
Yeah, you'd
unless you
be
look
a techie
for it.
looky for it.
Yeah.
But...
is that 4K or 1080?
1080.
Okay.
And then my friends have a 80-inch 4K screen. And I honestly prefer the bigger 1080 versus the smaller 4K. Theirs looks nicer, but mine feels more peripheral vision.
Yeah.
And so, like, it's a trade-off thing.
But if it was bigger 4K,
yeah, then I would, of course, want it.
But I can't imagine the price of a 4K massive projector like that.
Yeah. It'd be a couple more dollars.
Yeah. To say the least.
Yeah. Yes, I can see 8K being in the house. That's not mind-blowing to me. But I don't see it in the house
anytime soon.
In 2020.
No. Little skim article. YouTube lures 3 more top streamers away from Twitch. We've talked a lot about Mixer. In fact, we're probably streaming on Mixer.
Well, that's not who I was going to...
The Mixer stream might be dead, but Shroud and Ninja both switched to Mixer. And now these 3 people, who, to be completely honest, I don't think I've ever heard of.
I haven't heard of any of these.
Are now going to be streaming exclusively on Google's service. Ooh, sounds fancy. So, I mean, I think it's good that Twitch and YouTube are kind of competing. Should make it better for content creators and stuff. I kind of wish they were going to another site, maybe, like another third-party site, just to kind of give some more competition to YouTube and Twitch. But
how many competitors
YouTube's already
you want?
as
YouTube,
many as we can get. Maybe a smaller one. What if they went over to Flipplane?
Instagram Live.
Instagram Live. Streaming games on Instagram Live. I guess it could be a thing.
What else could be a thing? That girl you're talking to online. It could be an AI thing. Oh, and that's the same article. 1 second. How do I do that every time? There we go. This is over on the Seattle Times. Fancy.
Ooh.
Dating apps need women. Advertisers need diversity. AI companies offer a solution.
Fake people.
Now, are these actual fake people like deep fakes? Or are these just real people fake profiles?
These are kind of neither. They're not randomly generated, but they're...
Oh, they are computer generated.
Yeah,
faces.
computer generated faces. Which means that they don't have to pay someone royalties.
Yeah.
Or pay a model.
Yep. And they don't have to steal.
Yeah, and they don't have to worry about, hey, maybe this person will
We'll
say,
find it.
hey, that's me. How interesting.
That's pretty cool.
Yep. So,
I mean,
advertisers might be interested in this for diversity as well, showing all the different types of people who like their product, because more people to sell our product to.
so here's a curious one. What if they made fake profiles, but in the profile pictures, they were holding sponsored products? So you'd have like your average...
The double whammy.
Yeah, you have like your average white teenage girl with Chick-fil-A. And then you
Or
have like...
Starbucks, you know.
Yeah, and then you have like a country dude in a Jeep. And then brands are pushing these model placements.
These like stereotyped models. That would be entertaining to say the least.
To be like, yeah, I wonder if that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I doubt it.
Because a lot of people like to pose with their name brands. And
Yeah.
like, look at me. I can afford the Chick-fil-A.
Look at me. I can afford the Domino's.
Yeah, I could drink the Starbucks.
Yeah.
And then Starbucks just like, I want 150 profiles with us in it.
How much is that going to cost us?
I wonder how much it would cost.
I think there's also free software that you can use to make these fake faces. It'd be interesting to try that out.
It would be fun to take a bunch of photos of friends' faces and then scar with everybody and just make like slightly off-putting versions of their own face.
Your nose would look a little bit better over there. Or a little bit worse over there.
Oh. Speaking of things that would look a little better over there.
Internet.
In the sky.
In the sky.
This is over on a website. Before 2020 is over, SpaceX will offer satellite broadband internet.
Yep. So somewhere down here.
That's a pretty cool photo.
Yeah. That's just one rocket, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then some kind of
Four
like
towers.
Yeah. So down beneath that image, it says, well, on Monday evening, January 6th, which we talked about this, SpaceX launched 60 more of their satellites. And this article indicates that it was aboard one Falcon 9 rocket.
Wow.
Which is pretty crazy. They launched 60 satellites with one rocket.
So they're small satellites or in a ginormous rocket?
Probably a little bit of both. So now there's 115 satellites, SpaceX satellites up there. And this article says, assuming SpaceX continues putting satellites in orbit at a rate of 60 satellites per launch and doesn't accelerate that deployment or slow it down, 11 more Falcon 9 Starlink missions should suffice to surpass the 800 satellite threshold for moderate internet coverage. At a planned launch rate of 2 Falcon 9 launches per month, therefore, Starlink should reach this goal by the end of June 2020, and by the end of the year, Starlink should reach 1,500, so 1,500 satellites. Wow. At that point, about 40% of all operational satellites launched by anybody, anywhere, ever in orbit will be SpaceX Starlink satellites, which is pretty amazing.
It's terrifying. not
Yeah.
amazing. It's terrifying.
It's both.
Imagine one company owning 40% of space.
Or at least the orbit around Earth.
Space as we see it.
Look at all those stars. No, those are satellites. No.
So do you think... have you seen those firework drones where instead of doing fireworks celebrations, they have the RGB drones?
I saw something like that in the Olympic. I think it was the China Olympics.
Probably.
Like maybe 2008. At the opening ceremony, I believe it was, there were a ton of drones with lights flying around.
Yeah, Intel also did it.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it was China that did it.
Now, China's, they didn't make theirs look like fireworks, but they definitely made art
Yeah, but
and
they're
stuff with them. Yeah.
Art in the sky.
Yeah, yeah.
We gotta do that.
Whoa. Oh, so they're making a Dodgers logo, I guess. And then
I wonder if you could do this with satellites. Because one time we had talked about doing sky billboards where people are trying to sell sky space.
yeah.
I wonder if Elon would be like, this person really ticked me off. And then just write a message in satellites.
Because you wouldn't be able to move the satellites around in a pattern, but you could blink them in a certain pattern to potentially blink them in a certain pattern to make it write something out. Yeah. Kind of like those fans. You know those fans that used to spin around and they have lights on them and you could write stuff on them. And yeah. Huh. That'd be
Getting close
interesting.
to it.
Yeah. And we did review an article a few weeks ago about space researchers having satellites flying across their deep space photographs and stuff.
Yeah, and it ruining their photos.
Yeah. So Elon Musk might be writing something on their screens in the future.
That's all I got.
That's all I got. We had a lot of topics, but they were
Short.
pretty short.
Fast.
Yep. And then a lot of my topics were duplicated from yours.
Sorry. I'll put better titles.
Yeah, right. And we will see you next week to take about them